Respected Chairman and delegates of and off the dais. The good thing about being a last speaker is that all the aspects of your topic has been dealt with, and then you just need to summarize whatever you heard from them. So that gives me a good opportunity to quickly put in perspective what we are discussing on this part. Also, I think I seem to be a person who has been working with government on some part in my previous avatars on developing a few institutions of excellence, so that might also add some value. Quickly as to defining what human capital is like putting a monetary value to all your knowledge and skills, right? So you put some number to it and then you go ahead and work on that. And HDI has been defined normally in terms of your survival, your schooling, and your sustainability or health part of it. So the skills have been spoken about, the education has been spoken about, and the health part also has been spoken about. So I think these three put together, HDI comes in, and then we always boast of Kerala and Trivandrum having a very high HDI because you have a very low infant mortality, your general health indices are good, your schooling is 100% literacy and all kids go to school, the general environment is good, you have a very good healthcare system, so the longevity of 71 or more, whatever, that's also good. So naturally our HDI is going to be good. But does that mean that our human capital base is good? I would say no, because Chairman has already put up the 5-point agenda that the committee had suggested to government for the obvious reasons that we have a lot to do than the mere HDI numbers. We rank number 1 in India's HDI index, but that's not enough. Some of them spoke about why there's a brain drain at the graduation level. We used to do this at a PG and the post-graduation, higher degrees. But today you have graduates going out. And those are times when the recent news of IISc being one of the top-notch university or institutions across the world. Now, that's like contradictory. You have an Indian institution which ranks number 1 among the schools, and on the other hand, you have people at a graduation level running across to various countries, recognized or either ways, trying to get their graduate degree from there. Now, what does this lead to? This leads to the point that we had an initial speaker speak about knowledge management in a very large way. The point of knowledge creation, dissemination, and consumption. I'm just going to touch upon these three things. The knowledge creation is not about the number of PhDs you churn out, number of institutes you have, but it's more about the intellectual property that you create, which will be dealt in the next panel, I suppose, the innovation and entrepreneurship panel. The number of IPs you create, the number of the value creation that you do, the number of companies or entrepreneurs that come up, I think that's an index of knowledge creation. We're not very high there, but then we are quite good in terms of our startup ecosystem. Dissemination, we've got ample number of, again, I remember the KPMG report which was being showcased here. We have ample number of schools, we have ample number of colleges, higher education institutions, research institutes. We have a lot of IPs ready for technology transfer, but after the Sri Chitra thermoprint poll incident, how many more technology transfers have realized to a commercial enterprise? Why is it that we don't have too many more pen polls to show? So the translational research or the commercialization of research is not happening. So that dissemination is not happening. Then you come to consumption. This is where the industry, as an industrial body, where we come in. A personal experience is when we were trying to woo investors into the state. They came and the normal two things that you hear is we don't get people. And the rest of the other things are what government can manage. Infrastructure is something which government can manage, but people. So then we start all kind of skilling programs like our second speaker spoke about. We tried to bridge the gap, tried all kind of skilling programs. These are all entry level things. Yes, all our college graduates, though I don't really subscribe to the idea that only 23% of our graduates are employable. The surveys show so, but then we did all kind of trainings. We are one of the best skilling environments across the country or even outside, and we made the entry level skilling there. But the more important thing came up when all these companies came back and told us, like we were starting or expanding our center, then the mid-level managers who were not those young guys who who didn't have the skills. These are people who have competencies proven. They did not want to come back to their hometown, which was quite surprising. You would always reckon that like people initially in their younger days would like to explore the world, but then when you kind of settle down, you want to come back to your hometown. All these companies who were expanding said that our middle level and senior level managers don't want to come back to the state. Why? That brings down to the importance of your 4-point agenda in this Trima convention, that starting from sustainability or your human capital or your infrastructure and connectivity or your innovation and entrepreneurship, all these are connected. Why is it that the people didn't want to come back? Because they've seen the world, they have had the facilities of the world. And coming back here, your civic amenities don't match up what they really expect. That was a major issue. And to that point, I'd say that a point which was highlighted yesterday but never debated, and in Trivandrum we've been debating for quite a long time, is your waste management. You would expect, the only thing you would expect from your civil or local governance team is to manage the waste, give you good water, manage the waste. Well, there's no waste management in Trivandrum, if I may say so, other than some silos of excellence being done by individual institutions or some body. We don't have it. You wouldn't see all those bags on the roads packed with waste material, nor things being dumped under the railway track, nor on the Parvati Putanar thing. So these are loud examples of a poor waste management system. Now, how do they affect it? So for you to research on, for the biomedical thing to research on, we are creating different varieties of viruses and bacteria so that our virology institute will have a full-fledged pipeline of projects to take up. That's not what a senior professional who comes back looks at. Right? The second part of it is the connectivity. The physical and the digital connectivity. I think leave alone all the declarations like Doctor was saying yesterday. Today we could reach around within 30 minutes from one part of the city to another, but we are clogging our roads more and more. That's getting delayed, and it's not an index of development. It is just a sheer index of mismanagement. Why do we need to go into a transport-oriented development? Is because you have to adopt more and more public transport. So back in DC, we have been fortunate to work with the public transport team to their new project called K-Swift. I was always telling them this importance, like, your cure to your obesity is not increasing the size of your pants, because there's a limit to which you can increase the size of your pants. So making more roads, more flyovers, more even congested, or our land acquisition takes 10 years minimum to happen. So any of the city roads to develop, don't imagine it anywhere in your lifetime. So that's not the point. Move on to public transport. Create larger provisions for doing that. I think we need to think about it. That's another one. Digital connectivity, we are trying to reach out, but all of us want a tower not in our neighborhood, but somewhere else. And that's the same case with the waste management thing. Now, in terms of facilities of healthcare and others which are available, yes, we are generally good healthcare facilities, but there's a long way to go, right from our PC. So the point which I was trying to say is, why didn't those people come back? Your capital drain is not just your graduates going out, but it's also your senior colleagues not willing to come back and settle back in your township. You're being a geriatric village, so better get your people back onto this place. Now, having said that, as per the 2011 census, you talk about 71 years as your longevity kind of thing, but that's not the end of it. Maybe 60 years is for a physical work, but the intellect ripens as a wine. So you can't expect a person to switch off his intellect after 56 years or 60 years. We have seen a lot of people, professionals who are, coming out of the major scientific institutions like your VSSI, VSSC, CTCRI, RGCBI, CDAX, post 60, they're just switching over to, retired at home. So no, I think that's a problem with the HDI. They take it up to the longevity only. I think these measures, don't get boggled by the measures, because measures are misleading. Measures are severely misleading. We need a little more subjective a more Trivandrum-oriented look. Trivandrum is a place where a lot of people come and settle for these scientific institutions from various places. At 60, you don't need to switch off. They also form part of your intellect. So your human capital is a sum total of all these people, and if you can really monetize that, this 2025, I was very slightly skeptic on 25 being a vision set, because it's hardly 2.5 years. Yeah, I'm sorry. So, just one more minute, sir, I'll close it down. Oh, something was beeping, so that's why I was just... Oh, okay. So, what was I saying? Yeah. 2025 is too close to be a long-term vision. It's an immediate vision. It's more of an action plan. So I really appreciate that from here, if you can have specific 2 or 3 points, what you want to do so that your intellectual or your human capital stays back in this city. I think these are some of it. And Sir has put up the 5-point agenda, and what happens when you try to internationalize or privatize the education, I think you would be a better person to speak up. So not attempting that, I hope if there are any questions on it, I'll take. Otherwise, I'll conclude. Thank you.